Welcome back to another constructor video. I was actually pretty surprised when this video performed as well as it did. You guys seem to really enjoy the idea of throwing out a base and making traps do more damage, so I'm going to be running it again with some slight tweaks. So we got Mega Base in the lead to make the range as big as possible. Supercharged traps because, of course, the whole point of this build is to not just get a subscriber on Twitch, but to get lots of traps buffed from your base all at once, doing tons of extra damage, 42.5% more. Some of my commenters observed that they were only getting about a 30% damage bonus, but that's because that 42.5% is being applied to the base damage of the weapon. The damage perk and the element of the trap it'll stack on top of that base damage as well. So realistically, you're not literally getting a 42% damage bonus from your normal damage, but it is there. It's just being applied in a very confusing way. We've also got power modulation because I am going to be running a base build where I want to actually make our base nice and strong. So we've got, not descriptions, we got base Kyle and power base and support as well. Then we've got frozen castle. And another commenter was a bit confused by this as well. So this is a very useful perk for trap tunnels because enemies on tiles that are affected by the base will walk 15% slower, which means they're basically just spending 15% longer in your tunnels. And if you pair that with a floor freeze where they get frozen and then stagger back nice and slow, some enemies will not ever get past that floor freeze. I don't know if I'll get any footage for this during the video, but I'll show it if I could get that later in the game. But fatties will stagger backwards and then they'll just keep freezing infinitely until they just die. You don't need Ice King specifically for that, but it'll help it be more effective for regular enemies as well. Super, super useful. Feel the Base, I feel like, was more useful than maybe Electropulse Penny or Thunder Thora. They're not going to do as much damage as Feel the Base might, so we'll just try that out, see how it goes. Electrified Floors because, well, there just aren't that many options, so I'm going to go with her. Another thing that's worth considering, though, is Cyberclops. So Cyberclops actually arcs off of energy traps, and that is really interesting and something I kind of want to explore in a different video, but I don't like the idea of taking 8% off of our supercharged traps. I think he'll still equate to be more damage output in general, but I kind of want to do without him this time and just roll with this. So let's hop in game and check it out. All right, this is similar to the last video where I'm pretty much going to use the most basic kit you possibly can with my weapon choices, but I want to show the same trick I have in past videos, and that is using a cannonade. I, even as an endgame player, can't help but pick up the chest first. But then, yeah, cannonade is really, really good for clearing stuff out. It might not be the cheapest option, but it's pretty solid. Now, this is going to be kind of a trap guide because it's like the last video where I can't really show any gameplay running around doing damage because we're doing a trap build. So that's really good because all these spawns back here are all going to be coming to pretty much here. Everything up here might have a ramp going up, so we can investigate that. We are going to have to deal with that, and that's actually going to be kind of difficult. In fact, these enemies might prefer this. That's actually going to give me a lot to work with. So let's do this first. Because the enemies are going to be walking down onto the base here, I'm not sure if putting the base right where I'm standing is going to be the best spot. This is typically where I like to put it, but actually, I have an idea. So let's do this. Mega Base in the lead is going to come into play here because we're going to have a lot of ground to cover. I'm going to just block this off as well as I can. This might be giving a path to that, so I'm going to block it off there, and then go just one more higher there. I think we can build here. So this base is also a good location, but I'm not really sure. This defense is going to give me a lot to think about because something you got to think about when you're running something like this is where the traps are going to actually go, and more importantly, where the enemies are going to go. I think if we wall it off like that, the enemies will probably just jump down here, and we can actually do this. So where you're facing actually matters with ceiling drop traps and floor freeze. Basically, however you place it will stagger them the opposite direction. So going like this will be 3 tiles high, and will actually aim the enemies away. In this case, it could stumble them into the wall, which can be a little glitchy. Sometimes they will actually glitch through the wall, and I don't actually know if that's a bad thing or not. Maybe they'll just despawn, but in this case, I'm going to put the floor freeze in the same direction, just pushing them out towards that opposite direction. And these will obviously do more damage up there. I don't think supercharged traps will do any more damage for the floor freeze, because floor freeze doesn't really do damage. So I'm going to put it up here, tar pits. So tar pits are really good for smashers. I would prefer to put floor freeze here so that my tire traps do more damage, but it's not really going to make any sense if a smasher comes through. You don't want them to break those walls, so I always like to put tar pits at the very last defense. And I did mention tire traps because let's actually do some scaffolding here. I think this would be really good because I want the enemies to be able to walk off the edge. And honestly, tire traps going up and down and up and down, up and down, 3 tiles is pretty much their limit, will be the most amount of damage, which is kind of a nice thing to have. And then scaffolding, you just go away just like that. We also have a ramp here that's going to be hit a lot. This is less ideal than usual. Same reason as before. I don't want to create a pathway like if I put it here for the enemies to walk on. I just want it to you know, hit that. And I feel like when enemies get to this height thereabouts, or if a smasher or a taller target like a husky husk triggers that, it'll drop down and do a lot of damage bouncing in that direction. So not a bad deal. And that's actually pretty much the most we could do, at least for that edge. It's going to be a little difficult to trap around here, but this is what I was talking about earlier, where Mega Base is going to definitely come into play, because this is going to give me a lot to work with in terms of distance, because we're going to have to go kind of a ways out here. So I think Steel and Electric Field are going to be perfectly fine. They don't do the most damage, but I'm going to need to get up here. What's the easiest? There we go. Yeah, I'm trying to think of the easiest to remove tile. Doesn't really matter directionality in terms of these, but removing that is going to be good. And that's why I put my base down, and I requested that my teammates, some of whom are also running Constructor, don't put their bases down, because I wanted to make sure that I can actually reach. And you can see as these finish building, some of these are actually in range, and one is not. So I don't think one out of range is worth relocating the entire base, but seeing as most of my traps are up here, it should be easy enough to just put my base like one tile lower. Remember, that will actually create a path for these guys to walk on, so I don't actually know if going one tile up is too big of a deal. You can see it'll actually connect a bit further, hit that one out there, and then I believe the floor traps should be hit as well. You can see by that orange marker. That's important, like I said earlier, because of Ice King. We want them to be able to walk nice and slow. And because we got some stuff on the walls here, I'll just do Zap-O-Max. I started supercharging this recently. I think I supercharged it again today. So if you want to be like me and just super try hard, I'm going to run out of efficient parts crafting these, but you can actually recraft the entire thing. I feel like it's worth it, you know? I might as well just get that extra supercharged damage. It's not a lot. Okay, but 49 is all I could get. But one extra supercharge is going to be a little bit. I don't even know what the bonus is. And also, somebody mentioned in the recent video that you can put these wall dynamos on these in-between walls. For those who don't know, by the way, Zap-O-Max is just a reskin of the wall dynamo. It is available in the Machinist Mina pack, so it's not really anything different than a wall dynamo. It's the exact same. And I'm just waiting for this to finish building because I want to make sure that this is going to connect. Perfect. Mega Base has so much range. I did not think that would work. I'm actually really happy about that. And some enemies might get stuck in here. I'll observe that as we go. But up here, I believe this is a temporary spawn, that is, by the way. Fun fact, if you ever want to get rid of anything quickly, just edit it a couple times, and it's super easy, barely an inconvenience. All right, a couple more of these. I think I want to stagger it back this way, but I like going off the edge, although that would encourage them getting stuck. So I might just do this. Just a couple of easy floor freeze. You should always have floor freeze under the ceiling electric fields, because a ceiling electric field with nothing frozen underneath it is going to do a lot less damage, and that's something you want to consider. And I want these enemies to walk slower, so we're going to do a couple of things here. We're just going to put these little edited walls here, and when those finish building, they should connect to the floor freeze and extend the base out to them. There might not be a ton of range on that, but you can see the orange tiles here actually covered 3, 5. Oh yeah, all of my floor freeze. Perfect. So now, just like I said in the intro of this video, the enemies will be walking 15% slower on floor freeze, which are already freezing them. If I wanted to be super go for broke, I could put another row of floor freeze out here, but I don't like over trapping on camera. I don't want you guys to think that most of this is necessary. I'm just having fun with the traps, okay? I'm just having fun putting stuff down. Like right here. Do we need wall darts there? Maybe not. That might be a little unnecessary, but it'll still kill stuff that's walking over the edge. I don't know if that'll be 100% needed. Now, we've also got this completely open southern direction, and I feel like that's something we're going to have to take care of as well. So, first and foremost, just block off the edge. I don't think anything from there is going to come over here. Depends on how far they're going to have to walk, and they're going to want a straight shot to the objective. So, I might just leave this open like so. So, we're going to have one tunnel right here. That's allowing them to go through. And then we're going to have another one going straight this way, because you can see we've already trapped up over here. You know, there's really not too much concern there if they can just come on through. So we're going to do a couple of things here. Floor freeze, and like I mentioned, I like to put tar pits right by the base because, yeah, I broke my rule over here, but smashers are kind of annoying, and I want to take advantage of gas traps while I can. Gas is actually really strong. Gas and floor freeze is a great combo, and put broadsides in there. This is the tunnel that I showed in my Beast Tunnel Trap Guide video from long ago. That video is still great. I just wanted one easy video to showcase all the different ways I trap, and holy crap, Mega Base is still reaching. Now, this might look further than it is, but it's really just at the very top, you can see it. So it's going over one tile and then down and then down. It's actually well within range of Mega Base, and I think some of these corners, or at least two of them, are impacted by the slowing effects of Ice King, so they will be going slower through these tunnels, which is super nice. It's not every tile, but these top ones are important because that means the gas will be doing 42.5% more damage. I could put wall darts on these side walls, but I don't think it's necessary. A teammate clearly did not know the plan, but I think we'll be okay. Sorry for anybody with epilepsy. That's not a fun glitch. Anybody who's using the boom bow, it's probably Archer. I think that might have to go away because I don't want to trigger anybody's epilepsy. That did actually happen in a recent video. In my Hacksaw video, link to that down below. That glitch did happen, and I did get an epileptic commenter mention that they had to sit down for a bit, and I felt bad about that. So yeah, I think we're ready to go. I very conveniently cannot get over that, but I also did a trap. Thought that was pretty fitting. I did a trap anomaly and got exactly the 4 blue glow I needed for both missions here. So yeah, let's see how I did. I'm also going to ask that my teammates not kill too many things. I want to make sure the traps are doing their jobs. So let's see out here. There aren't that many traps in this direction, so we're going to get to really see the effects of tires just going straight into the spawns. I probably under-trapped this location, but you can see once they get up here, they're going to get staggered right off the side and then just killed immediately. Yeah, so that's just going all the way out there, staggering them, which slows them down. And Archer, I'm still recording. Let me see how the traps perform. I want to see how this is going here. Thank you to him. So yeah, I want to actually get some clips for that intro I mentioned earlier. I want to show just how they get staggered backwards. So let me just move that away so you could see how they stagger. They're actually dying, but that guy actually staggered off the edge. He's going to walk on, probably freeze again. And maybe that one. Yep, there we go. I never noticed this, but it lights up when it activates and then is dark when it's not ready to go. I guess that was always intuitive, like I never noticed it before, but I just noticed this live on camera that a floor freeze is ready to go again when it's bright. So you can see he gets frozen, and then when he unthaws, he's going to stagger backwards. So you can observe that in just a second here. Freezes for a long time. You can see he's also snared from the Ice King. Then he gets snared into another floor freeze. So he's going to stagger back again, and then he'll probably freeze again. So he's basically perma-stalled. This is a great clip for the video itself and the intro clip because I mentioned this earlier. He is just permanently stunned. An entire elemental fatty is just going to die from 2 floor freezes and the electric fields above it. Yeah, and then this trap tunnel down here is doing great. Smashers, as mentioned, will walk through the defenses sometimes. We're actually taking damage as well, and I think that's because a Smasher went through it, and that was kind of a mistake. I can't watch every tunnel at once. This one definitely seems to be doing good. I think that's somebody else's darts, but a great addition to any one of these tunnels to just have a dart shooting down it. That looks like it's doing great. I believe this side over here was under-trapped. No, maybe not. No, nothing got through, so it looks like we're doing well. I like that that 1 tire trap is pretty much locking, or these 2, I guess. Oh, 3? I guess so. 3 traps are pretty much locking down this entire direction. I love that. That is just doing great. Love to see it. I also want to watch this tunnel as well. It's one of my favorite tunnels to watch because everything in here just gets frozen and ticked with so much damage from the gas and the broadsides. Yeah, that's why we make straight tunnels, by the way. I like to see exactly where they're going to go so that when the smashers do come through, they just get stopped in the tar pit, and I try to cancel that at the last second. But you can see this tunnel is only about 2, or I guess it was 3, but broke right away. Or maybe I'm being dumb. I'm being dumb. Yeah, it's only 2 tiles long, pretty much stopping everything but a smasher. So I'm going to take out that smasher before he breaks our walls. But you can see the first wave went super smoothly. Ooh, nice little jump on the wall there. Yeah, this whole thing is locked down. Some enemies do skip through when it's off cooldown, so they don't always get stopped by every single floor freeze, but whew, really satisfying. I think I'm gonna have to sit up top next time and just watch the damage numbers because we are ready to go. Also, I don't need to actually edit the tile because my teammate ever so perfectly put a little gap in there. You can't edit a wall when the Zapomax or wall dynamo is on there, so probably a mistake on my end, but as we could see, that tunnel was definitely not the weak point. So yeah, let's observe this tunnel once again. Just everything's getting stopped, everything's dying nice and easily. I don't actually think there's too much needed for that tunnel, so I might actually leave that one alone. I'm kind of digging it. This side is what I'm more worried about because you can see they're working uphill, literally, and they're getting staggered back down with the tires significantly, but I feel like that's actually plenty. We got 3 tire traps, 2 tar pits, and 4 wall dynamo just locking down this entire spawn area because they're all coming from the one direction, and it looks like somebody actually plugged a gap over here. Was there a ramp that I missed? Yeah. So basically the same thing I would have done. Wall launchers shooting off the map, and traps, and this is actually perfectly fine that a teammate did this, because one of my favorite things about supercharged traps is that it affects your teammates. So a teammate can add onto the build, as every teammate should. In my case, for demonstrative purposes, I like to trap solo so you guys can see everything that was placed, but if any teammates add anything to your build, everything that's connected to your base will do more damage. So supercharged traps makes you an extremely useful teammate, and I highly encourage it. In fact, I want to continue this series without Mega Base. Mega Base is obviously super good because, I mean, look at this range. But if you're playing a more conservative defense, or if you're playing maybe a mission with higher level players, or if multiple people are playing the same game and you want to not have overlapping Mega Base, maybe it's not necessary. You could run Power Base Nox in the lead so that everything heals super fast. You could run Base Kyle in the lead so nothing gets through your walls. All the constructor commanders pretty much work here. Anything that's a constructor so you can get the actual supercharged traps bonus from your base is going to do a great job. And I feel like continuing the series, since this first video, or this is the second one, but since the first video is so well received, continuing this series might be a fun thing to do. And I think using different commanders that are maybe less range than Mega Base could be super fun. So I do believe Mega Base is obviously the top pick for this. He's definitely the biggest range if you're just trying to maximize how many traps are getting affected. But there are lots and lots of options. What is that mini-boss doing? Like, you can see Storm God running to him. I'm waiting for the mini-boss to come be killable, but he is just on an adventure. That's not our mini-boss. What the what is he doing out there? What is he... you know what? Mini-boss doesn't want to be a part of the video. With a minute and a half left, I'm not even worried about it. But you can see takers aren't covered by the tunnels. They basically never are. But this tunnel is one of my favorites. You guys see why I made a whole, like, beast trap tunnel guide on this tunnel alone? Like, I did cover other ways to trap, but this is my primary way to do it. This 1 and 2 floor freeze plus broadsides and gas, if you place it in a good position where the enemies are going straight to your defense and they're not busting out your side walls and smashers aren't breaking your walls, you can just do a lot with this one position, and it is delightful. Please die, please die, please die. There we go. I'd rather not get eliminated, but look at that damage. So convenient. Thank you for the heal. Oh god, flingers. I was just playing Ventures all day for 8 hours. Yes. 1 like equals 1 prayer. And flingers are being a problem, but yeah, these lobbers. So what's happening right now in the current day and age, thank you for the Ben's Warcry, Twitch link down below if you guys want to be a part of the fun, is that love lobbers were enabled, even though the quest that involves them, the Stoneheart Farah quest, is discontinued. So, oof, that's an easy death. I think that was hit by a teammate, and yeah, that's out of there. So love lobbers have continued even though the quest line is gone, and instead of removing it, they are deciding to just leave the love lobbers. So they are spawning on top of regular lobbers, so we're getting twice as many projectiles, and they also stack damage. So if multiple love lobbers throw their love bombs on you and you're standing in the smoke, you'll just take more and more and more and more damage until you die or move. So not my favorite thing ever, but you can see these tunnels don't care. Pretty smooth defense, and I really appreciate my teammates letting me do this. So yeah, if you guys ever want to see more of this, comment down below. I really enjoy this playstyle. It's a bit passive, like I've said in the first video. I don't love showing off constructors all the time, because sitting back and watching traps do damage is fun only to an extent, but I think this is a great showcase of just how amazing constructors can be, and if you want to recreate it in your own missions, you are highly encouraged to do so. Thank you again for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one, and yeah, have a nice day. And then